Welcome back to NYSE TV Live. Well, this past Thursday, Circle made plenty of noise here at the stock exchange, and we're not just talking about the fact that they rang the opening and closing bells. Shares of the stablecoin issuer soared by 247% in their first 2 days of trade. And J.D. Durkin has more on the story.
Dante Disparte is the Chief Strategy Officer and the Head of Global Policy at Circle. Join us for a huge day here at the New York Stock Exchange, the company's IPO. Congratulations. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, JD.
I know that many in your industry see regulation as a challenge. Talk to me about how you fundamentally are going about that conversation, maybe a bit differently for you and the team at Circle.
Well, for us, look, it's always been a feature, not a bug. We have been a regulatory-first company since the very beginning. Since the first USDC was issued, we complied with state money transmission laws, with combating illicit finance. We have always thought that you could have innovation, integrity, and responsible sort of access to the dollar all over the world and not have to throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to rulemaking. So we're very proud to not only make this accomplishment possible today, but to see progress all over the world in terms of regulating this activity.
Yeah, I think regulation, transparency, this idea of compliance, especially now as a publicly traded company, Dante, now it's a much different conversation for the company, but you still have always stood on the shoulders of this long-running reputation. How has Circle been able to go about earning that reputation?
Well, there's no doubt. The IPO today is the attainment of a long-standing objective for us as a company. We have always aspired to be a public firm, in part because it would enhance trust, transparency, and accountability for what we've been doing with USDC, one of our core products, a digital dollar used by people all over the world. So we think this milestone today merely enhances the core trust in USDC as a product, but it also helps to unlock and accelerate the broader part of our vision, which is to raise global economic prosperity through the frictionless exchange of value. You're not going to do that if stablecoins are a part of fringe finance or living in the shadows. And so we think today's milestone just really puts the activity in the light of day, sets a standard, and then what we hope would come from Congress in the not too distant future, the Genius Act, would regulate stablecoin activity in the Circle way of doing business, which will make digital dollars like USDC an export product rather than an import product to the US.
Assuming a lot more of that government support, both from lawmakers, policymakers, regulators alike, where do you think, or maybe where do you hope the stablecoin industry can be in even just the next few years?
Well, look, I would argue that in many ways, to quote Winston Churchill, today's milestone marks the end of the beginning. We're a long-term company in every respect since our first founding and since the first issuance of USDC all the way through today. We've been focused on really long-term priorities. And so we think in the future you could expect a world in which device-centric financial services powered by stablecoins like USDC are a part of everyday life for people all over the world. The way we move money is stuck. Your and my financial needs don't take bank holidays, and our money shouldn't either. And that's a part of what we're making possible.
We've talked about the Genius Act, which is, of course, very United States Congress focused. But what does this company look like in terms of scale growth opportunities around the world?
Well, look, for the last 4 years, and one of my core priorities since I joined the company and our broader company priority was to ensure that the sun never set on the business. And so we have prioritized a regulatory platform in Asia out of Singapore, where we have a major payments institution license. We're the first company to comply with Europe's far-reaching digital asset laws, MiCA. Out of France, where we have an e-money license supporting all of European activity. And of course, the Genius Act would represent a milestone that is long overdue here in the United States to assert U.S. leadership in this digital asset domain. And one thing we're really pushing for is that all of these rules that come into force around the world are harmonized rather than fragmented, because that preserves the core feature of this type of financial activity.
Dante Disparte, congratulations on a huge day for you and the team at Circle. Thanks a lot for taking a few minutes to sit down with us.
Thank you so much, JD.
All right, thanks again to Circle's Dante Disparte and J.D. Durkin for that interview last week.